The image I chose to recreate was an image illustrated by Jeffrey Charles W., and it is titled Marie Heber, the Mother of Canada. On the left, we have the original image, and on the right, we have the reinterpreted image. First question, what did European settlement mean for all involved? The European settlement of the Americas had a huge and pretty complex impact on all involved, including the indigenous populations, the Europeans, the slaves that were brought to the Americas, and even the environment. For indigenous populations, European settlement often led to displacement, enslavement, and overall just taking over control of them. The introduction of European diseases also had a devastating impact on indigenous communities, leading to a significant amount of their population therefore dying or getting very sick. For Europeans, settlement in the Americas led to the start of new colonies and the expansion of European empires. The addition of new land and resources, including precious metals and crops, powered economic growth in Europe. However, the Europeans make colonizing sound easy. The process of settlement was often a difficult one, with very harsh living conditions and the constant threat of conflict with indigenous populations. Finally, the importation of millions of enslaved Africans to work on the land in the Americas was a central component of European settlement. This led to brutal treatment like violence, forced labor, and just no basic human rights. Next question, what were the changes in worldview? A lot of cultures changed and were affected from all of this colonizing. For an example, the slaves came from Africa as well as Europeans and First Nations. They came because of all the crops and yard work that needed help, and they didn't really have a choice. But unfortunately, the First Nations people lost a lot of their culture, language, and beliefs/practices when they were put into the residential schools. Overall, a lot of worldviews changed and were influenced, but this is just one of the examples that I chose to focus on, and as it was recently brought up in Canada. Next question, how does colonizing today help answer the main question, what did European settlement mean for all involved? It can help us by comparing and showing the ongoing consequences still to this day, and the outcome of the colonizing. It also shows how impacts on culture, religion, community, and beliefs have been impacted. Overall, this is just a way to compare and really see the long-lasting consequences from all over the world, and to also recognize the mistakes and move on into the future without making them again. For my drawing, I switched it around completely. The only thing I kept from the original drawing was a trace of Marie Heber. I kept her on the hill as she was still a big part in that drawing, and also in Canada's history. I added around 5 First Nations people, even though there would have been way more, and I ended up tracing some from another drawing. I did this so we can see what they were thinking and seeing as their facial expressions of confusion and fear. I did the boat super big because that was probably the main thing for the first peoples and what they were worried about. I was super happy with how my image turned out. Overall, I really enjoyed reinterpreting an image to make it my own, but also being able to trace stuff from an original piece of art. The European settlement of the Americas had a profound, lasting impact on all involved, with consequences that continue to be felt to this day.